Hello, I'm Duncan, I'm from Bind, and I've made a little video and I'm going to talk about what we do normally, how we've had to adapt that activity to the coronavirus situation, and what the future might hold for us. And as you can see, I've been practicing playing with special video effects on my computer, which may well come in handy if I ever need to be a sign language interpreter on the television. So, Bind is Newcastle's food waste hub. We run several of our own projects that reduce food waste, and we also connect other key players to try and sort of drive change across the city. So one of our projects is Eat Smart. It's a primary school food waste prevention project. And what we do in that project is get a team of pupils from the school to measure the amount of food that's wasted in their school over a week, and then they implement their ideas to reduce it. So to give you an idea of context, in most of the primary schools that we've been working in, the amount of food that's been thrown away over a school year would be worth about £57,000. So it's an insane amount of food. And over the 9 schools that we've run the project in so far, we've reduced that food waste level by 1/3. So it's a really effective project, and it's really fun as well because we end up in situations with teams of year 3 to 6 pupils in a meeting with their head teachers and leaders from the council's school meal service, trying to explain to the 9-year-olds why every child in the school gets the same size portion, despite there being quite a big difference in their size and appetite. But our main project is the Magic Hat Cafe. So rather than me tell you about it, I thought we'd watch this short video.
Every day, supermarkets throw away 5,000 tonnes of food that's still perfectly good to eat. So, instead of going to landfill, we rescue it and turn it into delicious meals that we serve in our pay-as-you-feel cafe.
It's a scandal how much food is being wasted. It's all going to the landfills, and yes, it's got a use-by date, but it's perfectly good to eat and it's perfectly fresh.
Every week we collect food from supermarkets.
Each time we do this, we seem to collect an immense amount of food.
Our chef turns it into delicious meals that we serve to anyone and everyone.
So every week we don't know what's going to turn up, but we get creative as a team and we put out a great menu.
Food that we don't use goes into our pay-as-you-feel supermarket. Pay-as-you-feel means people either pay in money or by volunteering. We have people driving, washing the dishes, cooking the food, helping in the kitchen. We started in 2014 with pop-up events around Newcastle. Recently, we started a regular pop-up event in Byker Community Centre.
Food is about coming together, enjoying each other's company, spending time in a centre where everybody's welcome.
It's really nice to be somewhere with such a lovely sense of community.
It's taking something that would have been rubbish and thrown away and turning it into something amazing and wonderful.
We've come along to show solidarity and support that.
I really like the idea of not wasting food, but mostly I didn't want to cook this evening, so that's why we've come.
Getting an opportunity to come out and see people and enjoying food together, it's like one of the most basic things.
We really want to get a permanent space so we can put on more events, open more frequently, save more food from being wasted and feed more people.
We try to make our food and our space as accessible to as many people as possible. But it's really, really important to us that we don't get confused with a food poverty project. Food waste and food poverty are 2 very distinct problems, and we hear far too often that one can solve the other. You can't solve food waste by simply eating it. By the time the waste has been created, it's really difficult to do anything about it. You've got a really short amount of time before it goes off. It's really perishable. Instead, we need to be looking at the root causes of the problem, of which are vast. And similarly, solving food poverty is not as simple as just giving people food. There are really deep underlying issues that need to be addressed. And from a personal point of view, almost all the food that I eat is from surplus. It would otherwise be going to waste. But that's out of choice. And imagine if you couldn't afford to feed your family, and the solution that society provided was to give you the food that no one else wanted. The bread that was a day old, or fruit and vegetables that you had no choice over. And there's a growing misconception that redistributing surplus food to people in need kills two birds with one stone, and we think that's very dangerous, and we're here to challenge that. So that video that we just watched was from our crowdfunder campaign for us to get our own premises, which was successful. We raised over 20 grand from the crowdfunder, and we've spent the last year or more probably going through various premises which have fallen through, but eventually we found one and negotiations were going really well. We were at a point to sign the lease. We even had planning permission, so we're getting really excited, and then coronavirus arrived. The world was turned upside down, and suddenly there's vast amounts of people who don't have access to food. So we decided to close our normal pop-up cafe about 2 weeks before Boris closed restaurants. But at the same time, we were intercepting more surplus food than ever. So we had to really quickly adapt to what we were doing, and we moved to packing this food into parcels and distributing them via a combination of deliveries to people's homes and from people who were able to come and collect them doing so. And as the impact started to really take hold of coronavirus, demand for these food parcels grew really quickly, and we knew that we had to set our sort of primary objectives aside and focus on, people as a result of this crisis were in really desperate need for food, and we had lots of food, so we needed to feed them. And we kind of expected that eventually the government would be distributing food parcels. So we saw our activity as a kind of stopgap really until the council's emergency food service had been established. But we started to reach our capacity really quickly. So we teamed up with 2 other food waste organisations so that we could increase our impact. So FareShare have a massive warehouse in Westerhope, so we relocated to there so that we could have volunteers, a larger team of volunteers packing the food parcels whilst still adhering to social distancing. And here's a little video of how we exercise social distancing in the warehouse. So as well as using FareShare's warehouse, we also teamed up with Food Cycle, and they've taken on managing all the individual referrals that we were receiving lots of. So together we're now distributing around 600 food parcels every week to people who have become vulnerable as a result of the coronavirus outbreak, and that's through a combination of delivering to community groups for them to pass on to their communities who've already got established links, and we're also delivering directly to individuals' homes who come through various referral routes. So in the last 4 weeks, we've distributed about 1,700 of these parcels and diverted 18 tonnes of food from landfill, which we're very proud of. But what happens next? We all want to go back to normality as soon as possible, and from the Magic Hats point of view, we're itching to get our lease signed and start works on the new premises, build a kitchen and all these exciting things. But how long will it be before a cafe can actually open again? Will it be 6 months? Will it be a year? Food waste continues to be a huge environmental and social issue throughout this, and confusingly, we're seeing more food being wasted now than ever, when there's even more people who can't afford to eat. And most likely food waste will be a massive issue for a long time after it's over as well. So we're looking at how we can use this time to increase the impact of our work. We're reaching more people now than ever and redistributing more food. These food parcels have been really successful, so we're looking now at how this model can be part of our business plan, both in the long term when we eventually open our own cafe, and more immediately to help generate some much needed revenue to sustain distributing the food parcels to people who can't afford to pay. We're still working that one out. So whilst that's ongoing, we've got a fundraising campaign live at the moment, and if you're able to support us, we'd really, really appreciate it. Thanks for listening to the video. I hope that it's provided a little bit of insight into what we're doing at the Magic Hat, and if nothing else, a little bit of entertainment during lockdown. I hope that all your organisations are going to be okay throughout this, and that we'll see each other in a very short space of time. Thank you.